What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, the wrestling podcast where we talk about anything that's going on in WWE and no holds barred on what we say. I'm your host, Kyle Masters, as always. This podcast is going to be not really about WWE, in a way about WWE, and then it sort of ties into the super fight in boxing that just happened this weekend between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Yes, we haven't released a podcast in a while, guys. I'm sorry for that. We've been a little bit busy. But again, there hasn't been really much going on in WWE lately to even make a podcast about. So, yeah, you know what? I'm not sorry. WWE, step up your shit. But anyways, basically what this podcast episode is going to be about is what WWE super fights I would want to see and I think should happen that have Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather caliber super fight. If you guys didn't catch it this weekend, there was a super fight in boxing between those two. They're the best boxers in the company and the sport of boxing right now. It was pretty bad. I caught most of it, and then I watched a full match the next day. I'm not really a boxing watching person myself. I've seen my fair few of boxing matches, but this match sucked. Like, it was really bad, and I wasn't the only one to agree with that. There's a lot of people going over Twitter, voicing their opinions, all the hate, but I kind of talked to a few people and a few friends of mine that watch boxing occasionally and tell me why it was actually a decent fight. But it wasn't, they agree that it wasn't super fight caliber. I'm not going to get into it. I'll go all day on this, but it sucked. In my opinion, it really sucked. If it's a super fight, I think it should have been way better. But both boxers walked out with a decent pocket of change after this fight, which, again, I'm not going to get into because I can go all day at how boxers make way too much money. But anyways, the podcast we're going into today. So I have 3 super fights that I think should happen, and they're just my fantasy super fights in WWE. I went through a lot. I went and wrote down all the top superstars from the past couple of decades and went through each scenario, matching them up with different people, and I have my top 3. So we're going to jump right into it. My first match would be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock 4. Yes, 4. They faced each other 3 times before, but I think they need to do it one last time. This match should have happened back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I meant back between 2003 and 2006, when both superstars could have had the match pretty easily. But there was so much going on between then. It would just kick all the upcoming superstars in the ass, and yeah, so on. They did tease a little bit at the Hall of Fame ceremony in 2005 when The Rock was inducting his father. The crowd was chanting, or he mentioned Stone Cold Steve Austin being there, and the whole crowd's chanting one more match, and they kind of tease it a little bit. And you know what? They should have had it, man. They should have had that match the next WrestleMania after that, which would have been 21, and they could have been 21. I mean, it's Hollywood in 21, the Hollywood theme. So yeah, they could have had that match then, but I still think it should happen. I mean, The Rock is still, if not better shape than he was before, to have another match. Now, it's the other competitor that's iffy. Stone Cold Steve Austin is really iffy because it all depends on his legs, his neck, and his conditioning. I mean, you saw him, if you watched Tough Enough a couple years ago when he was hosting it, he was all right. I mean, he looked pretty good. I mean, you can't say he looked any better. He didn't really bump around a lot, but he gave his fair share of teachings in the ring they had at Tough Enough there. Yeah, so it all depends on if Stone Cold can put up another match. I mean, if he can at least do a 10, 12-minute another match, and by all means, have another fight like that. I mean, how would you build the story to this? Is a question I'm going to get into right now. Do you tie the Royal Rumble into it? Is The Rock going to go into the Royal Rumble and Stone Cold screw him? Or is Stone Cold going to be in the Royal Rumble too if he's good enough to do that and he eliminates The Rock and they build a feud from that? Or does one of these superstars come back and make a promo and say they want a WrestleMania moment, but not just any moment, they want a match? I mean, I kind of see The Rock doing that or Stone Cold. So yeah, there's so many ways you can build this storyline. If this ever happened, who would come out with the win? Oh, that's tough. I mean, The Rock has one win. Stone Cold has two. The Rock beat him at WrestleMania 19. It was kind of like a redemption thing because Stone Cold beat him at 15 and 17. I would say just The Rock to even up the series and to call it an end after that. I mean, they both won two WrestleManias against each other. It only makes sense that way. But it would end in an epic fashion. I mean, all their WrestleMania matches ended in a crazy fashion. I mean, Stone Cold selling. Like, there's no one that can sell like Stone Cold or The Rock. They both sell perfectly, especially The Rock when he gets the stunner. It's just the best thing, like the best sell you'll ever see. Bigger sell than our co-host No Sell Phil. I'm sure my other co-host Corporate Cappy would agree. But this would get a huge draw. I mean, you could have this match billboarded really good. I mean, it's not super fight caliber. I don't think it get that much attention, but I think it gets enough attention in the wrestling world that people are gonna be like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to see that. So yeah, that's the first super fight card or match I think that should happen, and it's a fantasy match of mine. Stone Cold versus Rock 4. It would be great if The Rock, if they ever did this, and I want to see Hollywood Rock make a return. Me and Corporate Cappy, I'm pretty sure No Sell Phil, Hollywood Rock was the best gimmick that The Rock's ever done. It's the best heel gimmick I've ever seen, and it was funny, and it's just funny how the crowd still chanted his name, and he would react to it in the best way. And his off air promos were the best as well. I mean, Hollywood Rock was the best. But yeah, that is one of the fantasy matches I'd love to see. Fantasy supercard matches. The next one I'm going to get into is, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it every fucking time. This match has to happen. The Undertaker versus John Cena. Literally, WWE, you need to get this match done before Taker is done with wrestling. So basically by next year's WrestleMania 32, because it looks like that's going to be the last one Taker's ever going to wrestle in. Like, while Taker is in the shape that he is, like with his new CrossFit and diet training, him getting, like, after seeing him at WrestleMania this year against Bray Wyatt, he looks great, man. He's looked like shit the last couple of years before that, but he's starting to look better. He's growing his hair back. I mean, it's insane. They need to do this next year, like at WrestleMania 32, and it makes sense to have it next year, WrestleMania 32. It's going to be Taker's last match, and he's probably going to get put in the Hall of Fame as well. I mean, they should. This guy's probably one of the greatest superstars. You know, not probably. He is one of the greatest superstars of all time. So yeah, this match needs to happen. I've said it before. It needs to fucking happen. Does Taker bring back the biker gimmick? Like, is it going to be either American Badass or Big Evil, like one or the other? But just because I make that statement because of the location of WrestleMania next year, which is in Texas, which was where Biker Taker was being billed from. He was being billed from Houston, Texas, where he was born, not Death Valley, California. I think it should happen, actually. I want to see Biker Taker. I'm sure the whole WWE universe would love to see Biker Taker come back for one last match. I mean, it'd be really up. I think WWE would be up for it, but it's all up to Taker and what they leave it always up to Taker and what he wants to do. And WWE has so much respect for The Undertaker, they'll do anything he says. So I think Undertaker would do it, man. He's such a biker person in real life. I think he'd love to just go out one last run with his bike, like bring one of his prize bikes out to WrestleMania and show it off. I mean, it'd be amazing. If this match happened, this would be an epic match. It would be even more epic if it happened years ago when Taker was in better shape in wrestling on almost a daily basis. But this match has so much potential to be so epic that it would steal. If there was going to be a match after it, the whole crowd would still be buzzing from the John Cena Undertaker match. A possible feud idea. This is like I had two ideas of how they could bring this feud together. You can have Cena, in his whole U.S. Open challenge thing. Now you can have him after Royal Rumble do like a WrestleMania open challenge and just have people come up and present their case on why they should face John Cena at WrestleMania. Obviously, Taker wouldn't answer the first one. You'd have like Heath Slater and some jobbers trying to present their case at first. So I think Taker should answer the challenge maybe a month into it. And I think it would be a pretty good feud after that. And I think John Cena may hesitate at first and then accept it after, that kind of thing, kind of like Triple H did. But yeah, you have Taker answer the challenge and you build the feud from there. And I should work for WWE. That's just crazy idea right there. This match has the match to be match of the it just has the title of match of the century all over it. I mean, in my opinion, it has the caliber to be like a Cena Rock Hogan caliber match. Now, if I had to pick a winner, I have no idea. I thought long and hard about this. I was thinking over an hour on who would win this match. It can go either way, to be honest. If Cena wins, Taker it makes sense that Taker would put over Cena, and it would literally solidify Cena as being the 100% greatest superstar of all time. I think that if this match happened a couple years ago, it would have been Cena the one to end the streak. I know a lot of my friends and my co-hosts would agree with that. Like, Cena should have been the one to end the streak just because of the amount of respect for Cena has and the amount of respect he'd have for Undertaker. It would have made sense, and I would have been okay with that. Not fucking Brock Lesnar, but I'm not going to get into that. Now, if Taker wins this match, I mean, it makes sense as well. I mean, it's his retirement WrestleMania match. He has to go out on a win. I don't think he'd want to go out on a lose. Cena has so much respect for anyone he wrestles with in the ring. He's the only superstar that can sell good enough to put Taker over in his current condition. So I can't tell. Those are my two predictions of who would win the match. I don't have a clear-cut winner for this. But this match, I would love to see this. And I would be, if this match, oh man, I can't even put words into to describe how happy I would if this match ever came to be. But yeah, that's the second super fight match in WWE I would love to see at WrestleMania. The third and final one has John Cena in it again, but it's John Cena against Hulk Hogan. Two generational superstars that can change the business, and we're both icons. They're both were and are icons of their eras. Basically, both the same persona and the same you know what I'm trying to say, gimmick of each other. Hulk Hogan was a top guy in his era. Now John Cena is a top guy in this era. So it would only make sense them to have a match together. Hogan even says he's been training the last couple months, and actually the last year he's been saying he's been training and getting healthy enough to have another run. It'd be pretty cool to see Hulk Hogan have a couple more matches. That'd be dope. I wouldn't have a problem with that. This match the hype for this match would go over nuts over media. It would be insane. The amount of media that this match would get is insane. Both superstars would be trending everywhere on social media. They'd be going on every single night talk show, day talk show that's ever been made or that's ever out there right now. And so on. This match it has Times Square billboard proportion. Both wrestlers are so well known too from WWE and non-WWE fans that it has Pacquiao Mayweather caliber, in my opinion. Hopefully a better performance than the match that happened on Saturday night. But yeah, again, this, if you told someone that doesn't watch WWE, in a coffee shop somewhere, you'd be like, hey, guess what? John Cena is going to face Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. They would, not totally clue in, but they'd hear Hulk Hogan and be like, oh yeah, and I've heard of John Cena. He's the next top guy. So yeah, it would just draw. This match would draw so fucking much. WWE has a $1 million gold mine ready to go off if Hulk Hogan was ever healthy enough to have another match. The winner, again, I can't tell who would win this match, but I'm going to have to choose John Cena because it just makes sense because, I mean, you could have Hulk Hogan win and Cena put over Hogan, but you need Cena to win to have Hogan pass him the torch as the next greatest superstar. Because Hogan, regardless of what anything Hulk Hogan does now, he is one of the greatest superstars of all time, if not the. He's definitely in the top 5. So if Cena would win, it would only make sense to have Cena join that class. But yeah, guys, those are basically my 3 top. I'd love to keep going and tell you all of mine. Maybe I'll do like later podcasts about it, but it's all the time we have right now. Be sure to hit that like button, guys. Do anything that's possible to help us out. Maybe share it to your friends or whatever. Follow us on Twitter. That's always, if you ever follow us on Twitter, I'll follow back. I always follow back to my followers. Other than that, I'm your host, Kyle Masters, as always. Hopefully you'll have another podcast for you guys soon. But this has been another episode of No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, the wrestling podcast where we talk about anything that's going on in WWE and no holds barred on what we say. And that's it.